G'day guys, and welcome to the Sunday's Beginner Series. As promised, this week I am bringing you some picks, which I've got hidden down here at the moment. Since we covered tensioning and finding the correct tension for your lock last week, I thought I'd take you on to the next step when it comes to picking locks, and one of the most quickest, rapid entry picking styles that you can use. And of course I am talking about raking locks. Now over the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks, so tonight, next Sunday and the Sunday after, I'm going to break down each group of rakes for you and show you the different techniques and styles to use them. Now with raking, with your rakes, they can be broken down to 3 main groups. You've got kinetic attacks, you've got rocking, and you've got scrubbing. So you've got the 3 main groups. All rakes will fit into one of the 3 or sometimes 2 categories. And I've got a selection of rakes. This isn't all the rakes that you can get, but I've got a selection here to show you the different groups. So we'll start off with the kinetics, which is what I'm going to break down for you tonight. So kinetics I like to think of as reverse bump keys. Now I've got 3 different manufacturers here of kinetic rakes. Down the bottom we have a triple peak, which is by Multi-Pick. In the middle we have a double peak, which is by the Chinese spring steel ones that I said about. And up the top we have a double peak by Southord. Now as you can see, these have very, very sharp angles to them, very strong points, and they are very close together. These, as I was saying, I like to refer to these as reverse bump keys. When you put a bump key into a lock, and I'm going to use the triple peak for an example, and a lock, you put your bump key in, you pull it back 1 click, and then you get your bump hammer, and whilst adding tension to your key, you strike the end to send force into the key pins, which will then cause them to bounce up, knocking the drivers up above the shear line, and you get an open. These are exactly the same principle. That's why they are a kinetic tool, but they work in reverse. So you put them into your lock, you add light tension, and then you zip it out as quick as you can. The second style is your rockers. So this is an L rake or a city rake, and as you can see, it's there to designed to simulate a key's bidding. This uses a rocking motion. You probably can use it for scrubbing, but it's designed more for rocking, and this is one of my favourite styles of rake to try and get into locks. I've had a very high success rate with one of these. Now different manufacturers have started making different variances in their bidding, so they're making them from low up to high in the middle, back to low, and in reverse, and all different styles. These are absolutely fantastic for quick entry, and one of my favourite rakes to use. The last one is probably the most common one that you've seen and know about, and that is your scrubbing rakes. Now I've got 3 by the same manufacturer here, but these are some of the most common examples and the most common picks that you will see people use for scrubbing. We have a Bogota, the Sparrow's Worm, and a snake rake. Now as you can see, the peaks on these are a lot softer, the angles aren't as sharp, and they're nice and spaced out, all the peaks, with these nice big valleys. These are designed for scrubbing, so your backwards and forwards motions, some slight angles, all different techniques you can use with these to scrub or at those pins to set them to the shear line. These may look very similar to kinetics, but I'll show you there is a huge difference between these two. So the top one is the Kinetic, and as you can see, it's got the sharp angles, very sharp points to the peaks, and they are very close together, whereas the bottom is nice, soft swoops and spaced out. You could probably use the top one for scrubbing, but it is designed more for kinetics. So they are your three styles of rakes. So tonight we are going to put the others aside and focus on the kinetic rakes. So when it comes to kinetic rakes, there's only really one main style and one main way to use these. I've got a cutaway lock set up here, and I'm not going to actually tension this one. This is just to show you. But I've got a tensioner in there because it's a Yale style keyway. I don't want my pick sliding down the bottom. But when it comes to using a kinetic rake for these, you want to slide it into your lock and all the way to the back. Then, whilst adding your light tension, you want to hold your pick and pull it out, zip it out as fast as you can. Now you probably didn't even see those pins move. I will link after this. I'm going to put a slow motion, so hopefully you can see how much force is generated by one of these. So you do that a few times, keeping it nice and flat and flush with your keyway. If you don't get a successful open, you can add a slight rise to your pick and then try. But it's all about using quick motions to really force a kinetic reaction between the key pins and the drivers. So I'll quickly play that in slow motion for you so you can see it, and then we'll come back and I will zip open a couple of locks for you. Okay, so as you saw in that slow motion, when you zip your kinetic pick out, it causes a lot of force on those pins to get them to bounce. So the trick to it is your tensioning and fast movements. Now I've got two locks here I want to lock up. These are standard pins. So we've got 5-pinner and another 5-pinner. And just to demonstrate how quickly and the technique that I use for these. So I'm going to use bottom of the keyway. I think that one's a bit too big. Let's grab the medium. Right. Now, what I'm going to do is add light tension. So you want to use the lightest tension for that lock. You want to take your pick, before you add any tension, slide it into the back of the lock. Place your light tension on, and then very quickly, holding it in a straight line, you want to zip your pick out. That's how quick it can be. So just to show you, got another 5-pinner completely pinned up. Light tension again, all the way into the back. It's actually sticking out the back of the lock. Light tension, hold on to it, zip it out. Alright, this one's playing up a little bit more, so it must be some high-low bidding. There we go. That's with the triple. Let me lock these up. Let's try with the Southord double peak. My camera will cooperate. So again, nice sharp angles. We use the same tension and the same locks. Light tension, take a double peak, way into the back, zip it out. Nice and quick. When these work very fast. Now, if you don't get an open on about your 10th try, check your tension, make sure you got your tensioning right, try it again. If there is some extremely different pins, your success rate will drop a bit, but there's something you can do to try and boost that up a little bit. When you first start, keep your pick in line with the boarding on your core and go in a straight line when you drag it out, like that. Nice straight line. If there is some variances, you can add a slight angle to your pick and slowly add an angle to it when you're going to, so that your pick has a slight angle, so you get that second one, it'll bounce up a little bit higher, and try that. So if you're not having any success, or your tension is not sitting in properly, not having any success with that, now start adding a slight angle to it when you zip it out. Let's try this double-ended one by Southall as well. Just slightly different. Must be the way I'm tensioning that. So it doesn't really matter what style kinetic rake you use. Well, this one's not setting, so I'm adding a slight lift to the pick. So I'm pushing it up against the pins a little bit more. No, alright, reset. We'll try the triple again. See, so it doesn't work every single time, but when it does, it is extremely quick. There we go. So strong, fast movements is the key to using these rakes. Tensioning and your strong, quick pulling out of the pick. So you want to zip it out and really cause that kinetic force to bounce those pins. So that is your first style of rakes, your kinetics. So hopefully this will help you a little bit, and put in the comments below your success rate, and do you like using the kinetic attacks? Personally I do. I always try rocking first, then I'll try the kinetics before I'll go on to scrubbing. But tensioning is your key. Get your tension right, get your movements fast with these, and best of luck. It is a fun way to try and open up locks. So anyway, as always follow the codes, keep Locksport legal, don't go do anything stupid. Please hit that subscribe button. As you know, I try to make 2 to 3 to 4 videos per week, depending on work and everything else that's going on. Come and join us on Discord, Extraordinary League of Pickers. I cannot recommend that enough. It is absolutely fantastic. Don't forget to check out www.locksmithstoolbox.com if you're after great equipment at very competitive prices. They are absolutely fantastic. Don't forget you can also find us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter, where I'll put up photos of what's going on, posts, what's happening around here, all the fun stuff as you know. If you want to get in contact with me, you can contact me through any of the social medias, Discord, or you can send us an email at darkartslockpicking@gmail.com and I will get back to you. If you like what you see, don't forget to give a thumbs up. And for all you beginners out there, best of luck. Please stay tuned for the rest of the Sunday's Beginner series. Everything I am doing in this series, I am putting into the book that I'm working on. Whether or not I actually get it published or try and self-publish it or whatever, I'm not sure at the moment. It depends how it turns out, but everything that I'm going to cover in these videos will be in the book. So yeah, till next time, cheers guys, and happy picking to all you beginners.